Hi, everybody. Imagine with me for just a moment that you wake up early in the morning, your alarm goes off, and you realize that you are taking a trip that morning. You have tickets to fly, and you haven't packed yet. And so you wake up quickly, you throw stuff into a couple suitcases, you jump in the car, and you speed to the airport, and hopefully you make it on time. Now, contrast that with knowing you have a trip coming up, a really important trip that you've been saving for, you've been waiting for, you've been anticipating, and a few days before the trip, you begin to carefully pack all your items, you make a list, you have everything that you need, and then you check your bags twice, and then you go to sleep, and you wake up refreshed and ready to go on the trip. That's a much better entry into your journey, isn't it? Well, I want to think about that a little bit with regard to our church calendar. So we are using the 1-year lectionary this year for the first time. We normally use the 3-year lectionary. And with the 3-year lectionary, we have Transfiguration Sunday, and then right after that, Ash Wednesday is the last thing that we do. And I've always liked that because I like how we go from Jesus on the mountain and then down into the valley of suffering and thinking about his passion for us as he goes to the cross. However, I will say that Ash Wednesday always seems to kind of creep up on me. We're with Jesus on the mountain of Transfiguration, and all of a sudden, whoa, Ash Wednesday's here. It kind of creeps up on us. It feels like your alarm going off and you haven't packed your bags yet. You're not ready for Lent. Well, with the 1-year lectionary, you may have noticed that we celebrated Transfiguration early, about a month earlier than the 3-year lectionary does. And the reasoning behind this is that we now are going to enter into a 3-week time of the church year called the Gesima Sundays. And what the Gesima Sundays are is they are kind of like a countdown, a reminder that Easter's coming. It's a reminder that we should tune our hearts toward Easter. But before we can go to Easter, we first have to go through Lent. So these 3 Sundays coming up, the Gesima Sundays, they're designed to get our attention and to help us pack our bags before we go into Lent, so that Lent doesn't catch us off guard. We want to take time before Lent to ask ourselves, what kind of Lenten discipline am I going to practice? Am I going to fast? Am I going to let go of something? Am I going to reorient my schedule so I can attend Wednesday noon or evening worship services? Those are all things that we ought to be thinking about in the next 3 weeks as we get ready for Ash Wednesday, which is the first week of March. So just a little bit of background on what the Gesima Sundays mean. This coming Sunday is what's called Septuagesima. And Septuagesima simply means 70-something days. And then the next Sunday is Sexagesima, which means 60-something days. And then we get to Quinquagesima, which means 50-something days. And so these are just Latin words that remind us that we have begun the countdown toward Easter, 70-something, 60-something, 50-something days, and that our hearts should be tuned toward Lent, getting ready for that time, because we really want to use Lent well. And if we're going to use Lent well to grow spiritually, to cleanse out all the clutter, and to focus on Christ, we don't want Lent to creep up on us. So my prayer for you and for the whole congregation is that in these coming Gesima Sundays, that we would be ready for Lent, that we would enter into Ash Wednesday and then the 40-day time of Lent, all the more ready to remember our Lord's great love for us as he goes to the cross. So this Sunday, we hope to see you in church for Septuagesima, the 70-something days until Easter.